Next on the news. The doors of a new day labor facility are open in Yonkers. Cardinal Timothy Dolan and Catholic Charities of New York are building a community to help them thrive. Governor Kathy Hochul is expanding abortion access, making it possible for college students to get the pill on campus. A popular church undergoes a multi-million-dollar renovation. The pastor looking to preserve history.
This was a project that had to be done in order to ensure that the church would continue to be around for another 150 years.
And you've heard of dogs working in police units and on rescue teams. Now meet the canines who are donating blood. I'm Jessica Easthope in for Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. Laborers who line up on the streets of Yonkers hoping to be hired for the day now have a place to call their own, thanks to Catholic Charities of New York. The organization opened its Yonkers Day Laborer Center to support the often hidden community and help them learn the skills they need to thrive. And it's almost a decade in the making.
All right, everyone from 5.
No longer will you see people lined up on the streets of Yonkers hoping to be picked up by a contractor or homeowner. Now they'll come here to Catholic Charities of New York's Yonkers Day Laborer Center.
We want to make sure that people don't abuse our immigrants, and we don't.
Very important.
They get what they're entitled to, and that's what Catholic Charities is actually.
They really come in the defense of workers.
That's Cardinal Timothy Dolan standing with Yonkers Mayor Mike Spano. Cardinal Dolan was there Monday to bless the new facility that took 10 years of cutting through red tape and pandemic delays to get up and running. He said it was fitting that the grand opening happened on the feast day of St. Joseph the Worker.
It was so appropriate for us today to be here on May 1st, the feast of St. Joseph the Worker. All right. So God the Father thought so much of the dignity of human labor that when his only begotten Son took on flesh and became one of us, he wanted him raised in the home of a working man, a carpenter, St. Joseph. So that shows you why we love and embrace these people.
The facility will not only be a gathering place for day laborers who are often undocumented migrants, but there they can get legal counsel, English classes, nanny training, and even OSHA certifications. Executive Director of Catholic Charities of New York, Monsignor Kevin Sullivan, says the facility is building a support system around these laborers.
My job is pretty simple. It is to affirm that in the world we live in, Catholic Charities is one organization that doesn't believe in division, but in coming together.
The center will also educate workers on how to prevent labor abuse and wage theft from those who are looking to pay them less than what their work is worth. And the Labor Center will supply a community of politicians and advocates to back that up. According to the Day Laborer Workforce Initiative, there are more than 10,000 day laborers in New York City and about 1,000 in Yonkers. Developing tonight in the battle for life in New York State, Governor Kathy Hochul has signed 2 pieces of legislation meant to expand access to an abortion. Under one of the bills, the abortion pill will now be available on all SUNY and CUNY campuses. This will happen by either employing individuals who can prescribe the drug or by providing students with referrals to authorized providers. The second bill would allow pharmacists to prescribe hormonal contraception over the counter. In speaking about the 2 pieces of legislation, Governor Kathy Hochul said she's fighting to keep the procedure in the state.
As always, when others fall short, New York will continue to step up and lead the way. Across the country, across the world, people are looking to New York for leadership during these tumultuous times. We lead with a strong belief in what is right, what is just, and what can be done to push back against the powerful forces of regression and repression that seek to strip the rights of our women. With these bills, we're standing up, we're fighting back, and we're welcoming all in search of these freedoms.
Hochul signed the measures on the first anniversary of the leak of the Supreme Court draft opinion that led to the overturning of Roe v. Wade. Catholic leaders in New York are fighting against the new bills and expansion of abortion access. Dennis Paus, the executive director of the New York State Catholic Conference, released this statement saying, quote, "It's tragic that young women away from home for the first time are facing a crisis pregnancy will be simply handed abortion pills to take care of the problem rather than being given the multi-layered supports they need." Governor Hochul's single-minded focus on increasing abortions in the state as though she's trying to win some sort of ghoulish contest is terribly misguided. New York has many problems that need tackling. Access to abortion is not one of them. If you would like to join the New York State Catholic Conference in their fight against abortion, just go to nyscatholic.org/action-center. There you can voice your opposition on both of the bills that Governor Hochul has signed. And if you or someone you know is a mother in a crisis pregnancy, the conference has also launched a resources page. Just go to nyscatholic.org/help for moms, and you can find a pro-life center by you. There's also a statewide map that directs you to local Catholic parishes that have ministries available. Pressure is building up in Washington. There's a new rush to avoid default and come up with a resolution to the debt ceiling debacle because of a new warning from the Treasury Secretary. And the clock is ticking. John Lawrence reports.
The U.S. debt ceiling deadline might be less than a month away.
The pressure is mounting and intensifying, and it should.
Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen issued a statement Monday telling lawmakers the nation could default on its debt as soon as June 1st.
We pay our bills, and we should do so without reckless hostage-taking from some of the mega Republicans in Congress.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, and House Speaker Kevin McCarthy have been invited to the White House on May 9th to talk about the crisis.
We've got to do it. $31 trillion and counting is too tenuous for the American people to absorb any longer.
According to a White House official, Biden will stress a debt ceiling raise must come without any spending cuts. McCarthy's Limit, Save, and Grow Act of 2023, which passed through the House last week, calls for boosting the debt ceiling, but it trims the budget.
This is not the way to do things, to hold the entire economy hostage to your political agenda.
Democratic Senator Joe Manchin released a statement saying that he hopes the White House invite is sincere and that President Biden will, quote, show true leadership and finally put politics aside and the well-being of our nation first. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
It's a big win for the Department of Justice after a significant drug crackdown. Almost 300 people who trafficked fentanyl and opioids on the dark web are now in custody. The operation took place over 3 continents and was years in the making. In addition, 117 guns and over $53 million were also seized. On the matter, Attorney General Merrick Garland said, quote, "You can try to hide in the furthest reaches of the internet, but the Justice Department will find you." Across parts of Texas and at the southern border, police are searching for a shooter on the loose. Francisco Oropeza, who killed 5 people living next door to him, was deported at least 4 times already before allegedly committing the heinous act. And now authorities are desperate for leads to find him. Ivan Rodriguez has more.
About 1 hour north of Houston in Cleveland, Texas, authorities are pleading for the public's help as they search for 38-year-old Francisco Oropeza.
Right now, we just don't know, because if we did, we would have him in custody right now. We do not know where he is. We don't have any tips right now.
Moments before the massacre, Wilson Garcia and 2 other men walked over to Oropeza's yard and asked him to stop shooting so close to their home because their baby was sleeping, even asking Oropeza to shoot on the other side of his property. The gunman later came to Garcia's home, shooting his wife, 3 other adults, and his 9-year-old son.
One of the people who died saw when my wife fell to the ground and was dying, and she told me to throw myself out the window because my children were already without a mother. So one of us had to stay alive to take care of them.
There were 15 people inside the home when the shooting erupted. 10 of them survived, including Garcia's 2 other children. Authorities believe 2 women died while using their bodies to shield the children who survived. The San Jacinto County Sheriff says he is heartbroken by how all of this unfolded.
My heart is with this 8-year-old little boy I don't care if he was here legally. I don't care if he was here illegally. He was in my county. 5 people died in my county, and that is where my heart is.
There is now a collective $80,000 reward being offered for information that leads to Oropeza's arrest. I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
While people around Texas are trying to understand what happened during the senseless tragedy, the Catholic Church is reaching out. Deacon Larry Terrell of St. Mary's Catholic Church in Cleveland, Texas, said, quote, God is with us amid evil and the need to work together and pray as a community to build a civilization of peace and hope with greater respect for the sanctity of all life. A town in South Carolina is preserving history by making sure a popular church is around for another 100 years. Mother Emanuel AME Church is known by many from a horrific mass shooting that took place in 2015. But for others, it's a place for peace and salvation through faith. Molly McBride has more about the much-needed renovations.
The church, for me, has always been a safe space. Even after 2015, I still consider it a safe haven.
Gadsden says she doesn't know where she would be in life without the teachings from Mother Emanuel AME, and is happy to know the church will be able to stay up and running for her grandson to have the same experience she had.
I am in a place where I feel really good about the future for this church and the future for my grandson, who's a big part of my legacy. Only grandchild that I have.
Gadsden says it was really important to her that through the renovations, the church stayed as close to the original as possible.
I know we couldn't have exactly what we had in the original church, but just keeping it as close to that so that we're not taking away from the beauty of the church. This is a beautiful, beautiful edifice, and I just think that we would do more harm than good.
I spoke to Mother Emanuel AME's senior pastor, Eric Manning, who tells me they want to make as few changes to the historic church as possible. He says the project started out of necessity after termites caused significant damage to some of the building's structure.
This was a project that had to be done in order to ensure that the church would continue to be around for another 150 years.
He says they're reinforcing a few of the trusses inside the church and the balcony that holds the organ. They're also restuccoing and repainting the front of the church and the bell tower. But he says they're not changing anything and are doing their best to make sure that everything goes back to how it was.
You want to ensure that those who have had the opportunity to come to such a historic church, to be a part of it, to be members of it, to visit it, will have that same opportunity years down the road.
That was Molly McBride reporting. Renovations are expected to be complete in a year and a half. There's a lot more news headed your way. See and hear the composers of tomorrow. These Catholic school students are marching to the beat of their own drums. Donating blood for man's best friend. These canines are launching an effort to help their fellow Fido. And he shoots, he scores. The special needs player becoming a viral sensation on the basketball court. That's the sound of creativity and the beat of passion. There are some up-and-coming music composers in the Diocese of Brooklyn, and get this, they have yet to even graduate 8th grade. St. Xavier Catholic Academy's music curriculum requires everyone to participate and create their own music, and some have discovered a sound all their own.
Brass, wind, and percussion. Each section has its own sound, but when they're played together inside this classroom at St. Xavier Catholic Academy, the music comes alive. 8th grader Juliana Lozito plays the piano and xylophone in the band and composes her own music.
We got to really mess around with note flight and experiment with different notes and chords and different ways to put them together.
But Juliana's not unique. Every middle school student is also a composer. At St. Saviour's, it's a requirement.
Everybody's got to do the composing. That's like you have to learn how to do math, you have to learn how to do read, and you have to learn how to do music. I think it's sort of a right.
Music teacher and band director Ted Stafford started the Young Composers Initiative 9 years ago. In music class, students learn their instruments, sing, and create their own pieces. They compose music for mass and films and write a protest song before the end of the year. The part that's not mandatory is the school's band. These students come on their own, practice at home, and stay after school to rehearse together.
When everyone's going home, we just get to stay here and just be together and play music, and it's beautiful.
Stafford says oftentimes once students are given the freedom to explore their creativity, the notes fall into place.
It's just really important to do something meaningful and developing skills that you could use in a career, that you could use for all kinds of things in your life.
As the students go from classmates to bandmates, their bond is held together by their own language.
And it really helps me form friendships and bonds in my understanding of music.
It's demystifying the little black dots on the paper and turning them into stuff you already know in your ear and in your musical imagination.
Each class will perform their music at the end of the year. Some students say the program has made them want to explore music as a career, that it just might be the key to success.
That was a really nice one.
Many of these students are performing in an upcoming spring concert on May 18th. For details, visit stsaviorcatholicacademy.org. Interested in sending your child to Catholic school? You can check out catholicschoolsbq.org or call 718-965-7380 for more information. New York City Mayor Eric Adams says black-run cities are being targeted during the migrant crisis. The comments were directed at Texas Governor Greg Abbott and the GOP, who he claims have only been busing the thousands of migrants to cities with black mayors like the Big Apple. This includes D.C., Denver, Los Angeles, and Chicago. During a press conference, Mayor Adams says he isn't calling Governor Abbott racist, but he can't ignore what he says are the facts.
He passed over thousands of cities to land here. And so I don't think El Paso, I don't think Brownsville, Texas, I don't think any of those other cities should have to bear the weight of the failure in Washington, D.C. And so it was wrong for the mayor of El Paso to do it. No one should use human beings as political pawns. And I cannot ignore the fact that Governor Abbott sent migrants only to cities where there are black mayors. And is undermining our cities.
In New York City alone, more than 57,000 migrants have arrived since last spring. It will cost the city roughly $2.9 billion over the next year to assist them. The U.S. bishops have been calling on immigration reform and the end of Title 42, which turns away migrants at the border because of COVID concerns. Over the weekend, Bishop Mark Seitz, who leads the USCCB's Committee on Migration, released this statement saying, quote, "No combination of legal pathways or harsh enforcement measures will suffice to meet the complex challenge of forced migration facing our country and hemisphere. Only through a long-term commitment to addressing root causes and promoting integral human development throughout the Americas, combined with an overhaul of our immigration system, will we be able to achieve the conditions necessary to sustainably reduce irregular migration." Two congressmen have reintroduced a bill that allows research animals to find a forever home. The Companion Animal Release from Experiments or CARE Act of 2023 is a bill focused on protecting the life of research animals. Under the bipartisan bill, facilities using animals will have to implement adoption policies and maintain public records of the animals to make sure they have a future once their job is done. And our nation's representatives aren't the only ones protecting lives. Animals are now assisting each other by lending a helping paw. Andy Madison finds out how these good boys and girls are giving a second chance to their fellow furry friends.
I counted her out, you know. I mean, you really never want to give up hope, but there's the realistic aspect of it. And honestly, I never thought I'd ever see her again.
Bradway's dog Winter was missing for 2.5 weeks. When she was finally found, Way immediately took her to the Michigan State University vet.
When she first went in, she was very glazed over and really out of it.
Winter stayed at the vet hospital for a little over a week, fighting for her life. And MSU canine donor Basil was there to help.
So they help out patients that are recovering from surgery,
traumas such as hit by cars or gunshot wounds, if they have immune-mediated diseases or are suffering from cancer.
All of the blood donors belong to people who live in the area or doctors or staff in the vet hospital. In order for dogs to donate blood, they have to be healthy and over 50 pounds.
It's really cool to see your dog's blood going to one of your patients or another patient in the hospital that really needs it. So, you can kind of follow the whole thing through.
Dr. Alyssa Zotto has had blood donor dogs in the past, and when she adopted Basil, she knew she wanted to make her a donor.
There's some things that we can't do, but having, a family member in the household that can make that other difference is really amazing.
Donor dogs come in every 4 to 6 weeks to give blood, and veterinarian technician Rose Wall says they barely feel it.
They love the treats, they like the extra time. A lot of times we just play ball afterwards. Most of them love to come in here, so it's a very rewarding part of my job.
Wall says it's also rewarding to see dogs helping out one another. Without Basil's help, Winter wouldn't be back home with her owner. Andy Madison, Currents News.
According to Michigan State University, in 2021, this small clinic used 290 units of canine packed blood cells and 83 units of canine plasma. Still to come on Currents News, he honed his skills on the basketball court. Now this man with Down syndrome is getting famous for his athletic abilities. The young Picassos at Bay Ridge Catholic Academy put on their first ever art show. Students from kindergarten through 8th grade displayed their works of art on the walls of the school. Some of the children even performed songs and poetry to go along with their visuals. They raised $1,800, which will go toward the school's art enrichment program. What started off as an activity to keep busy during lockdown has turned one man into a viral sensation. A California man with Down syndrome is making waves on the internet for his basketball skills, and his friend who helped him is being recognized. Michelle Geely has more on this heartwarming story.
That's all you do.
For Tyler Keano and Eli Goldstein, the basketball court is where the magic happens.
Bingo. There you go, bud. Good shot.
The 30-year-old Orange County man with Down syndrome is nonverbal. During the pandemic, Tyler's parents began witnessing outbursts, so Eli was hired full-time. First as a caregiver, but soon he became Tyler's fitness coach, basketball buddy, and enthusiastic cheerleader.
Incredible, dude. When we started playing more ball, he's gotten so much better, right, bud? You're chasing the rebounds, you're sprinting all over the court. So much more agile than he used to be. He's down 45 pounds.
Shooting hoops was always a passion for Tyler, and when he throws the ball, you can't help but notice his upper body strength.
Bingo. Yeah, let me see. Big shot, big shot, big shot.
But it's Eli who is certified as an adaptive special needs trainer who helped this young man take it to the next level.
You got it, my man. You got it. You got it.
Eli Goldstein first posted videos of Tyler shooting three-pointers last Halloween. It got 3 million views.
On Instagram, this duo is known as Strong and Able. They've got 26,000 followers, and some of the TikTok videos with Tyler sinking three-pointer after three-pointer has millions of clicks.
Strong and Able is just, it's a way for us to show that, people like Tyler, people with all kinds of special needs, Down syndrome, autism, whatever, they got abilities greater than yours and mine a lot of the time, which is pretty plain to see with Tyler here, because he's got a shot that I couldn't match any day of my life. So
all Eli has done for Tyler hasn't gone unnoticed. The nonprofit Regional Center of Orange County, which supports Tyler and others with disabilities, has just awarded Eli with its Spotlight Award. Tyler may not be able to use the words to say it, but it's clear Eli is a true friend.
That was Michelle Geely reporting. The CDC says 1 in every 700 babies has Down syndrome, and all with their unique gifts and abilities. And that is Currents News. I'm Jessica Easthope. Thank you for joining us, because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.